What's good with the YouTube? You already know Big Flocka with a convict's reaction, where we smash, dash, and react. Please hit the like, subscribe, comment, do all those things to help support this channel, and hit the bell notification for future fire reactions. And we're going to talk about the money sign Suede situation, and the reaction to numerous people from down south, rap artists and whatnot, as far as my reaction to what's occurring currently down there. And it's been all over social media. Bozo, Swifty Blue, Doughboy 909, and different artists out that way. And rather than just try to key in on one artist at a time, I'm just going to try to generalize all of them because they all have different opinions based on this, right? And the one thing that I noticed was this, right? From the get-go, it's one angle that I tried to approach this subject was less talking about money signs, but more talking about what's the future holds for future rappers if they misbehave on social media, the beefs and the conflict, if anybody rebels, if someone starts to act how Swifty Blue acts or how Bozo, and what could the consequences be down the line? Well, I think Bozo walked a pretty straight, narrow path when it came to this issue. I think he stuck to the politics, which is expected. And I was hearing all this stuff about, that he was talking bad about money sign and this and that. I watched the video. It wasn't too bad, man. I didn't see nothing that I could really key in. I could sit there and say, oh, he's being an asshole about this. He kept it raw and real. I would say that about Bozo's little live he did. Okay. Swifty, on the other hand, he kept it real too, as far as how he feels. Almost a little paranoid a little bit, right? Talking about, hey, you got to move out of here, man. They're trying to knock people down and whoa, whoa, whoa. But he should be a little worried, man, because he's probably been one of the rappers that his conduct has probably been the least professional out of the bunch, and the more contrary to what I would believe from my personal experience in dealing with Southern politics. I can't sit there and say about the streets because that's a whole different dynamic. But the Sudeños, their leadership, man, they have a real control over that area out that way, man. And they don't have no tolerance for anybody that goes against the grain. And I'll leave it at that with that issue. So I get where he's coming from. And that may be his best bet, is to tone it down a little bit. But some people can't help themselves. No matter what situation or circumstances they get put in, right? They can't help but react to certain things and say certain things that are going to be the most outlandish things you've ever heard. And that's kind of who Swifty Blue is. And I think hopefully that will change with maturity. I don't know. Bozo is hit and miss. It depends how much he's been drinking. You know what I'm saying? He kind of has a tendency to tee off towards certain groups, and particularly those from up north when he's a little bit buzzed. But, neither one of them, I would say, are wrong. But I would be a little bit more cautious to put anything out there, man. If anything, I would feel that this is going to make individuals refrain. Now, Doughboy 909, another talented rapper, man, that I pretty much, one of the very few rappers from down south that I listen to. You could tell he was speaking with his emotions, that he had a relationship with money sign. So does Swifty. So, and that's where you got to be careful. You can't let street politics and friendships come in between an issue out there in the streets, because that will get you crossed up so fast, man. There's a lot of different opinions that are being said about what happened. I wasn't there, so I'm not going to speak on why he got removed or who did what. But I think that this still needs to be an eye-opener. And that's my main reaction to all this. And if ever there was a time that some rappers may want to consider being silent, the time is right now. That stuff in general is supposed to be left behind there, behind the walls. If you're out in the free world, enjoy your life. Don't make choices to where you're going to have to go back in there. And that's the unfortunate thing, is that things like this could have an adverse effect, and I don't think people realize it. And what I mean by that is that some major labels may be reluctant to try to work with anybody who's a Chicano from Southern California or even Northern California, based upon American Me, Money Sign, different things have happened with certain artists. Edward James almost having to basically pay out of pocket. Cypress Hill having to pay out of pocket. I mean, all kinds of stuff have happened based upon prison politics coming out to the streets. And I think people forget that at times, man. They get too comfortable because they're out there in the free world. They're being successful and they're generating money that sometimes they don't know when to put a lid on it. And that's just the truth of it. Even if people are right in what they're saying, there comes a time when you have to sit there and take a step back. Is it worth my safety? Will I be jeopardizing myself or anybody else? Those are things that you always have to consider, man. And that's the thing that I was, preparing when I was listening to different videos and different opinions. And I think people are forgetting that, at the end of the day, if it doesn't concern you or your immediate family, some things are better left not being said. Then again, who am I to talk, right? But if you really care about your future, your career, there's certain things that you have to walk a very tight rope, because at any moment, the smallest little infraction could knock you off. And when I'm talking about knocking you off, taking your life, Now, Bozo kind of alluded that Money Sign was maybe feeling that he was above the program. I don't think he was that naive. He may have been a knucklehead, but then again, being on a level 2 facility, maybe he considered that maybe he could do what he wanted, or maybe he wanted to refrain from certain things, or maybe he thought, that's the politics, that's him. It doesn't work like that. You're going to mind somebody when you go to prison. And that's one thing that none of these youngsters understand. If you're going to be out there putting in work, you're going to be going to the county jail, prison, you're going to mind somebody. Someone's going to be giving you directives and you're going to have to follow those directives. There's no, if not, look what happens. It's happened time and time again. Dude comes in there, goes against the grain, either they PC up or they get hit. And a lot of dudes are real prideful, right? They've been accustomed to living a certain life out there in the streets. That maybe they didn't have a big home in their neighborhood. Maybe they were kind of able to kind of freelance in the areas where they lived out there. Now they're in prison. They have rules that they have to abide by. That's a huge change for a lot of individuals. I know back in the 80s and 90s, as how the program was back then, it was a little bit more easier. But even then, you'd have knuckleheads that want to go against the grain. I can only imagine with all the different security precautions and safety measures and clearance and cross checks and, big homies out there in the yard that now it's even way more serious. You have no room to basically wiggle, Anyways, I wish all these rappers, even though some of them I really don't care for, I do wish everybody the best of luck, man, in life, man, and that whatever success that brings to them in their future endeavors, that they make the wise decisions. And I hope that maybe this whole situation we can learn from. There's always a lesson in every story. Always remember that. Even if the ending may be bad, there's something you can get from it. With that said, it's your boy Flacco, Convicts Reaction. I'm out.